welcome back to our channel, Legal Lounge, where I am your host, Corinza, and we have a co-host here, Cody. And this is our channel where we talk all legal, but no advice. Good?
That was all right. Yeah.
Okay, so today we're actually going to talk about the Diddy case. He's been on the trial now for a couple weeks, and we did an episode. I think this was our first episode that we've ever done for this channel, way back last year. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. But we did it when this was all kind of surfacing. Now we're at the point where he's actually on trial. He's been arrested. I think we did like another follow-up after that when he got arrested and what was happening then. But now we're in the trial phase. So I kind of wanted to talk about what's going on in trial, talk about some evidences that was brought in front of the jury this past few weeks, witnesses being on stand, testifying on their part of their case and stuff like that. So I wanted to go over both the prosecution and defense. And we are a law firm we do practice criminal defense. So it would be kind of interesting to have Haley on again. It's been, Haley was here on Friday. I didn't even know she was here. We probably could have had her on and kind of talked to her about that. But kind of wanted to go through. Do you remember his charges and what's going on? Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
In the beginning. So.
Coercing or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Sean, is known as Diddy Combs, is currently in trial under the federal court, facing serious charges, which includes racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation of engaged in prostitution. So the famous allegations, the events as referred as freak-offs, apparently he was hosting that, which is an elaborate sex performances involving coercion, drug use, and sometimes violence. These events allegedly included both coerced women and male sex workers transported from across the U.S. with detailed logistical support from Combs' business associates. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges and if convicted could face a life sentence. So far, both sides have came out with their evidence, and I think the biggest part that everybody is talking about is Cassie's testimony on her side of her relationship with Diddy, with obviously the surveillance camera, the footage
in the hotel.
In the hotel where he's being dragged by her.
She's being dragged by him.
Sorry. I got that mixed up. Yes. Wait, she got dragged by him, right, in the hotel. I think he was he kicked her. I think he kicked her when
dragged her by the hair.
Mm-hmm. So that was a really famous, which I didn't know that she actually went to civil court, and was settled back in 2023, and she received $20 million based on the settlement that she went against Diddy.
And now she's trying to sue him again?
No, she's basically...
Or she's just a witness.
Correct. A witness of how she was treated in the relationship with him. Brought up other witnesses during that time and how she was treated.
His character, his personality, to paint him towards the crime.
Yep. And which I thought the interesting thing about this case, and maybe I was just naive, maybe I just wasn't paying too much attention when this was all coming out, that I thought this case was more so about the assault, about the violence against her, but it's not, because it's the racketeering, because it's the sex trafficking, and it's under federal court, which, fun fact, in federal court, there is no such thing as being on parole. And so that's why, because in my head I was like, okay, well, why is the prosecution, going against him for all those things, racketeering, sex trafficking? Why not go after him for assault, and just put him in jail that way? But it's because with the federal court, there's no possibility of parole, and it's the highest of sentencing, or highest of the charges. So if he was found guilty, he could be facing...
So they're trying to take him all the way up the ladder.
Yes. But using all those allegations in the past of his violence as part to support...
The claim that he's doing all these things and sex trafficking and drug trafficking through his freak offs, which to the outside world he thought looked like just a adult party, basically. But I guess it came out to where there's a lot of other things that get involved, and it's an adult party, but there's a lot of adults and powerful adults, and apparently he was one of them that, controlled what they consumed, I guess, and that's how he would drug them and get them to do the things that he wanted to do. So I think that's what it's like. That's like the picture that's.
And so the sex trafficking, the definition is I'm sorry, not the definition, but the mandatory minimum of sentencing is 15 years. If that involves force, fraud, or coercion, the maximum sentence is life imprisonment. And then racketeering, which allows government to prosecute individual or being part of the criminal enterprise involving multiple illegal acts. That's what racketeering is. And he could potentially face up to 20 years per RICO violation or life. So that's another one. And then they're also going after like drug distribution and firearms violations, etc. And that's about 5 to 20 years and up to 10 years per firearm charge, especially if tied to a violent crime or trafficking operations. And with federal cases, you would have to at least serve 85% of your sentencing. So that's why I believe. And then it is also a federal crime because they believe that his crime had crossed multiple state lines. So it didn't just happen in New York. It didn't just happen in LA. That it had multiple involvement in other states. So that's why FBI was involved.
Federal, rather than just a state.
So let's go through the
interesting case
testimonies real quick. Again, I thought it was interesting. I think the biggest part when it comes to defense of the eyes of the defense team is that obviously the prosecution side, they're gonna go crazy on, well, he was a violent person, he did this, this, that, and the third, this is why he should be locked up. But they have to prove that there was an organized crime in the benefits of him gaining profit of whatever he was organizing with these freak-off events. They have to prove that. So just, what is it, what is it, that word to describe other side?
Perspective?
No, there's
Opposite
a word.
Party?
I don't know.
Counter argument?
I forgot. There's like a play on word.
Opposing party?
No, I'm just saying that others may believe that Cassie's and everybody else's like witness testimony may not be enough to prove that there was a racketeering or there was a sex trafficking involvement. Like there may not be enough evidence to prove that part.
Because just with her witness though, but what about, isn't it like way bigger than just her now?
Well, yeah, for sure. There's multiple witnesses that have came on to the stands. But, so like, for example, Cassie, let's go through Cassie, testified because her experiences are central to the government's case against Diddy. Even though she is not the one bringing the charges, this is a criminal trial, not a civil one, meaning it's U.S. government prosecuting Combs for alleged crimes that go far beyond just one person's story, yada, yada, yada. I thought this was a witness statement, my bad. Okay, so testify being coerced into drug-fueled sexual encounters referred as freak-offs. In detail, instances with the physical abuse, again, included in 2016 beating at the hotel. Some other witnesses, David James is a former assistant. Dawn Richard, former bandmate. Carrie Morgan and Sheree Hayes, a male escort. Somebody like him was testified about being hired to perform sexual acts with Ventura, with Cassie, while Combs watched and directed the encounters. He recounted being paid between $1,200 and $2,000 for each session. Cassie's friend included Combs choking and beating Cassie and testified that she accepted $30,000 in hush money from Combs in exchange for signing a non-disclosure agreement. So things like this is coming out.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, how much of that is actually normalized in that type of Hollywood lifestyle? Like, don't people that are big enough, everybody has to sign an NDA.
Right.
So it's like, so I see the fine line that they're trying to paint each other with.
And even
it's like, what's real?
And even Diddy is coming out that this is consensual on Cassie's part, that she accepted. He described their lifestyle as a swinger lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like it.
So she accepted it, and knowing that this was a part of being in a relationship with him, which is so weird. That is not my cup of tea, but maybe for some people it is. And it may not be as weird for other people who are, I guess, engaging in this type of lifestyle, that this is just normal for them. So it was just, just how they, that's what the relationship was.
Yeah.
Right. So the defense team has even brought up evidences like her text messages. Let me see if I can find that too. Maybe I don't have that in front of me. But in her text message, it says like she can't wait, for the freak offs, things like that, because she's even, putting it out there that she, as a victim, couldn't leave the relationship. It was abusive, which, I have to acknowledge the people who are going through domestic violence and assault in their homes. It's not sometimes easy to leave that situation, so I can understand where she may be saying that. But
when you accept money in return, is that really
right?
Something is like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
If you weren't comfortable with it, why would you accept $30,000 to sign an NDA? Like, why would you, if you really didn't, like, you clearly had a choice, and like, this is wrong, or apparently to them it's wrong, but I think I want 30,000. Like, you literally just sold your entire argument, your entire case.
Right. Because if you really want to stand up for yourself and stand up for other people who's been involved in this free cost, wouldn't you go out and say something?
Yeah, but it's difficult
the
at the same time too, because not everybody has the willpower to do that, because it's also shameful. And humans don't like shame. They don't like feeling ashamed, and they'll do anything to feel ashamed, to not feel ashamed, which is what brings out competitiveness. You don't want to lose, you want to win. But my point is that it's complicated. It's like different stories, and whenever people, why didn't you come out and say this a long time ago? It's like, sometimes people have a hard time processing their trauma in certain cases, but in some cases it's like people just want to get something out of it. Some people actually do have a hard time processing the trauma, but there's people out there that try to take advantage of it and be like, get the best of both worlds. Like, okay, he gave me $30,000, but I still want to feel like this because I can get more money. So I'm going to try again, even though it could have been consensual. Who knows? But that's what makes it hard. And I think that's like common in legal cases too, like especially in cases where people are forced to do things that they don't want to do, like women or men, because I guess it happens to both genders. But sometimes they don't come out right away. Or on college campuses, sometimes they don't come out right away. Sometimes it's the community that holds them back. Oh, no, everybody's going to know. I don't want anybody to know. I'd rather sit here and suffer inside. So it makes it complicated. I think this case makes it even more complicated, because I don't understand how it's getting so far if she signed an NDA and stuff. Like, why?
What do you mean so far?
Like, how has it not been dismissed yet, or how has he not been released if she signed it? I mean, I'm sure it's a timeline thing. Like, maybe the NDA was
what's the point of the NDA if she can still go and talk about it?
I don't know.
I mean, it all depends on, I guess, what it says on the NDA too. I guess.
But when was the NDA? What was the NDA about? That's what we don't know.
Right. Because it could be very loose. And then
it could be something relating to something a long time ago.
But I
was
wonder
not even
if-
related to the freak-offs.
But I wonder if there's some sort of a law, and I don't know this, so don't quote me. I wonder if there's some sort of a law to kind of dismiss the NDA if it's being brought up to a criminal trial, especially at a federal court. Because
Yeah.
at that point, it's just a piece of paper.
That sounds like it could be a thing.
I'm pretty sure that's part of it, to where that kind of cancels out if this ever gets brought up into a criminal setting. Maybe she can't use it to say in media, talk to her
Yeah.
interviewers and reporters and stuff like that
Yeah.
out of her. But if she's been summoned by court and speak on those issues and instances, it probably overrides it.
Yeah, and
You
the
know?
NDA was probably something completely unrelated to what they're charging him for. So
No, court orders from a judge override them.
Yeah.
So you can still have to talk,
Right.
even though you have it. Or a subpoena also works.
Yeah.
And then there's
figured.
also whistleblower protections. So yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was for nothing.
Yeah.
Then
I mean, it's just like a prenup and postnup. Yeah, like you sign that you agree to certain things, but that doesn't mean the court will have to follow exactly what a prenup or postnup says, you know? If it's for the best for the interest of the kids, like you could be a regular human at the time you signed it, but then by the time a divorce comes through and you're a serial killer and your prenup suggested that you do X, Y, and Z to a serial killer involving kids, like, no, that's going to override it because that just becomes a BS paper at that point, you know? So, yeah. So that NDA was useless. So defense is saying that, okay, was Cassie in
because
on this?
she's appointed as a witness
Correct.
in the case,
Correct.
which
By
is
the
unrelated
prosecutors.
to the assault on her, more so for the racketeering and the
Right.
coercing and stuff like that. Right?
Because the case has nothing to do with what happened
With
between the
Cassie.
relationship. Right.
However, since the Cassie situation is documented,
Correct.
they're using that for
It's part of
the
evidence.
support of the case.
Yeah.
On the other side,
Right.
which is the other side is the FBI or the government.
Right. The
What
federal
is it? Sean
prosecutors.
Combs versus
The FDI, I guess. FDI.
the government of the United States.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think it's
'Cause
U.S.
it's federal.
Mm-hmm.
dang.
Yeah.
My guy is going.
The
up
U.S.
against-
is one.
He's getting.
You're
he's
losing.
going. He's going up against the American flag now.
Not
Gets a
the
bunch
flag.
of eagles.
Yeah, bro.
But you know what's interesting? I think it's interesting that there's no like camera allowed. There's no footage of the trial. I would think that people would record it, but I guess it's not allowed. I don't know if there's different laws in federal court versus state, but
the government's just probably trying to.
That's
hide
why they make
things.
those ugly
those
ass paintings.
images.
Ugly ass paintings.
What are they
now.
talking about? What are you talking about?
So like I don't. There's a word for it when the court go there and kind of sketches an image when people are up on the stand. So there's been some sketches, and people are going crazy on them.
Yeah.
There's another supporting, I guess, claim that Cassie is 8.5 months pregnant.
True. And that they're using that, the defense,
Yeah,
as a way to like
shorten
mess
it.
up,
Yeah.
but create a mistrial. I think that
Oh,
was
creating a mistrial.
because
Right.
she's obviously key witness, and so if she's not in there because she's about to give birth, then they're hoping that the case just disappears. You
Yeah.
know?
Because she couldn't be there because she would be having a
So
child.
complicated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they're trying to pull everything, which is kind of crazy, like the difference between state level, like what kind of allegations and like evidence that they'll put together for state versus like federal. Like they try to find all these loopholes to say.
It's really cool
help
though.
Diddy.
When I think about it, it's cool how the difference between like how to navigate state law and how to navigate federal law. The difference in the.
But that's the defense team
Yeah.
doing
I
that
know.
play. You know?
Which is good for them,
But
you
think
know.
about what would it be in a state level one. I'm sure that defense team is doing 2 times as much as a state case.
Yeah. And this try is going to go
Especially 'cause
on
they're
until
probably
like
getting-
July.
They're probably getting paid.
Which was another crazy thing that is going to prolong it for that much longer. Which, what you're saying about Cassie, I mean, She's 8.5 months pregnant, you know.
With
She's
who?
With her
Whose
husband
child?
now.
Oh.
I read that they were delaying
Mm-hmm.
that part of, like, you know how.
I think they were hoping that she would already have gone by the time she was
Mhm.
called to the stand.
Yep.
Yeah. To go ahead and.
Yeah. No, they got strategies. They got.
Yeah.
So, like,
Crazy
it's
strategies.
even like social engineering, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
But they're really trying to, I guess.
So where did it last leave off at?
They're still in just going back and forth with cross-examining. I think the new witnesses has been put on stand. Let's see. Kid Cudi testified. After a brief relationship with Cassie, Combs broke into his home, and weeks later, Cudi's car was destroyed. I think he set it on fire. Cudi? Is it Cudi or Cudi?
Cudi.
I think it's Cudi.
Kid Cudi.
Recounted a confrontational meeting with Combs, who denied involvement but later apologized in 2015. George Kaplan, former assistant, testified about setting up hotel rooms for Combs, stocking them with items like candles, baby oil. He also mentioned that Combs' hotel rooms were booked under the alias Frank Black. Forensic psychologist went up to the stand. Don Hughes provided expert testimony on the behavior of domestic abuse victims.
I like hearing them.
Explaining why victims might stay in an abusive relationship and how trauma can affect memory and reporting. Which I could see that.
Those people are like really interesting to listen to. I remember we talked about one case where there was like, it was some farmland and the son ended up shooting like the dad in the barn, in the doorway of the barn or something. You remember?
Yes.
When I watched...
That's the Murdoch case.
Yeah, when I watched somebody go on the stand, and I think it was a documentary, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I watched somebody go on the stand, and it was like that, and they talked about like the forensic evidence and like, well, the trajectory. I love listening to those because those people are so analytical, and they have like all these different points, and that guy was probably talking about like some dark manipulation stuff and like breaking down the mind of a manipulator and like abuser and stuff, and the patterns and habits that they have. It's cool.
But
It's fun
Like
to
an
listen to.
expert witness? Like
Yeah.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like an expert forensics. Yeah. Expert witness. Yes, I think that.
Don't you find it a little bit confusing when opposing party brings out an expert, and then the other party defending brings out the expert? And
I don't know. I haven't seen
and
one
they
like
say
that.
completely different things.
Yeah,
and then
I've
they're just
seen
like,
those
I'll
too.
have my own expert.
I haven't seen,
Yeah.
but I guess that's probably a strategy now that I think
It
about it.
is.
I haven't seen one like that,
'Cause
because if you have
they'll-
one expert saying your view and you have another expert saying your view, both of those it's like a positive and negative, and they cancel each other out.
Because they'll hire like one guy who did the initial autopsy, and they want somebody else to do it again to see if there's a different finding. So then they'll do the autopsy
See, but then
again.
they can go against each other, because if the person who did the initial autopsy gets proven to not do everything fundamentally and at a minimum, then the other expert witness will win. Mm-hmm. If they find the hole in the other person's work.
It doesn't matter. It all depends on how you can persuade the jury to think that
Evidence.
is enough to prove that person guilty or innocent.
Is there going to be
you know?
more evidence drawn?
Yeah. Oh, I believe so. What I'm waiting for personally is how are they going to prosecute him as far as like the racketeering part? Like, is there financial transactions? You know what I mean? There is a such thing like financial, what is it, forensic? I don't know the term.
Analysis?
Yeah. You know, to track down their transactions of who they paid, what money did they received. Like, that part I want to see. Like, okay, does that support their claim that he had an organized crime, you know, like activity, like illegal activity, using these freak-offs events? That's what I want to know. Like, who do they pay? Are they going to mention names?
Mm-hmm.
You know? What if J-Lo is in it? You know what I mean?
No, I don't care about
They're going to
J-Lo.
do a
I
Jeffrey
wanna
Epstein.
know.
As long as
They're
Shakira...
just going to block off
You
the
think
important
so?
names. Yeah. That's what they do.
They probably would. I agree.
Yeah.
They don't want to show who was involved.
They don't want to expose Cody. He was at the freak off.
I wonder if that's part of laws, too. That they can't expose people's
Why not?
Nah, I think they will. What about Epstein's flight logs?
Yeah.
That came out.
Not completely.
Yeah, but they came out.
But they burned the people that they wanted to burn, but they left out a bunch of names.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying though, is that they were like, obviously a lot of people
Like
went
important
to there.
people.
Yes.
Yeah. Political
But
people.
they didn't go after any of those people. They just
No,
went
they were
after
just
Jeffrey
exposed,
and,
but-
and his people. But it's like, is that going to be the same thing? Are we going to see oh my gosh, what if a list comes out and they compare it to the Epstein and it's like almost the exact same?
I don't know.
Oh,
about
they
the
find
exact
this.
same.
They find this like giant pyramid scheme. Which
Uh,
ties all to each other.
Mhm.
Diddy, Epstein, and
With JC and Beyonce at the top.
no, not Jay Z. Please, no Jay Z.
I know we talked about this in another Diddy episode too. That
Check it out here.
could be,
Beyonce, you could take Beyonce, but actually, never mind. Thank you, Beyonce. Sorry.
I don't want to take
Oh
you
my
out.
God, please
No,
don't.
but that's what I'm waiting for, because right now it just proves that, okay, he was a bad man. He was a violent man. I think we all know that. I think there's way more evidence.
Well, the last case
that we
definitely
need to
showed
know.
that he was a violent man.
right.
The case with Cassie.
So why do you think they're going for racketeering?
Because that's the highest charge.
Hmm.
And also he crossed multiple state lines.
But it's like super general. The way I thought about it was like, okay, like how can we guarantee, no matter what, that we don't produce a mistrial and that we grab a charge that is so general that there's a lot of things that we could prove that he did this. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Because racketeering, you never see that type of case. That's like one of those old laws that they created in 1940s,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and that they're just gonna use it for this specific like instance. You know, like they're going for something
Because
general
it's-
so that they can guarantee a conviction.
It's a big catch.
Hmm?
It's a big catch. It's like okay, we're gonna throw this giant
think it
net
fits
because it
all.
has more.
Yeah.
It has a better capability of catching,
Like for example,
right?
if
Rather than using a small net for a
Yes.
specific reason.
like for example, okay, so it would be like, for example, racketeering includes, if the business is comprised of it, it could include sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of going for just sexual assault, which could be disproved, right, or there could be no evidence for it, they could just go for racketeering, and that
Right.
includes sexual assault.
Right.
You
And
know?
and
They're
I
really
think-
trying to book them.
Right.
Yeah, no, they're trying to get them.
And I think the
Mm.
biggest part is that there's no parole. I
That's
think that's the
interesting. That's
that's
a
the
good-
biggest
That's
part.
true.
That's a
true.
good perspective.
That's why
That was a
I
good
thought,
explanation
because
of
I
it.
asked myself the same thing, like why that, but I think that's the majority of the reason why is that it's stricter, that you have to serve time if you're under federal court rather than state. Because state, you can be sentenced 20 years and they'll probably count off half of it that you've already spent in jail before your trial, that you've already served that time, and then you probably walk off for what, a year, couple years, and then you're done. And then somebody like Diddy, who has so much money, like I'm sure he can.
He could just bail out and
Yeah,
then
that's why there's no
book it to
bail
Mexico.
set for him either when he first got in there, because he was under the
Nice.
federal court, so there's no bail. So I think that's why it's under federal court, and I think that's why the racketeering, like y'all said, is to kind of catch all,
Mhm.
get
get him
all.
somehow and then
Right, and make sure
just
he
secure him.
serves some time. Yeah. But
Damn.
that's the sucky part is, and I don't wish violence on anybody, but I do in my heart hope that anybody who does a horrendous crime suffers a little bit in jail. But with these high profile people, they're in, what is that name?
isolation.
Yeah. That they don't interact with other people.
But don't you think that's punishment too?
I don't know. I
That could be
always think to
punishment.
myself, like, would I really go crazy if I'm in there by myself all day, every day? Do you think I would?
Dude, it's a scientific. It's
Is it?
scientific research that shows
I feel like I just sleep all
that
day.
it changes the. I think it
Write,
changes
read.
the compounds in your brain when you're locked in a room with no social interaction after a certain amount of time. There's like a legit, like it messes you up.
But there's no internet. Like, you're not living the life too. You can't watch TV.
Do you think even with those guys too? Because some
Nah.
guys have access to the internet. He won't. You don't think he
You
will?
shouldn't have
It
access to
depends.
the internet. If you do, it's because you.
It depends because you have like
you
school.
poop the phone.
You have like school and stuff.
Wait, I
I
missed
thought
it.
he got away with that. It's funny. I was talking and I hear that in the background.
That was
missed it.
crazy.
Dang.
That's
Um,
crazy.
I mean,
No,
I
but they have
gotta
like
watch it back.
they have like school and stuff too that
Right.
they obviously would need internet. So
People.
But it must be limited.
yeah, but they use it. They use
has-
it to their
They
advantage.
do because I
you
get
know?
I get lead submission. Not I wouldn't say all the time. I just read one this morning that he was in jail
Hmm.
and he needed a consultation.
Nice.
But he's in jail. But I'm pretty sure there is that time. Obviously, you can't go any sites. I'm sure. Kind of like school. There's certain sites are blocked. I can
It's
imagine.
a completely
it's monitored.
different operating system.
Mm-hmm.
It's called
You know what it's
Bookie.
called?
Jelly.
it has a certain name to it. Yeah.
But they have the right to like search for attorneys and read like case books and law books and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I've
You
seen
know.
that.
They have like a library.
That's how Ted
Yeah, law
Bundy
library.
escaped.
escaped.
Yeah. Ted Bundy, serial killer.
Yeah.
He has to be his own attorney. He has to study
Oh,
in a
I
library.
forgot. Yeah.
Then he just jumped out the window. Just booked it.
Hmm.
Got caught in Florida a year later.
Mhm.
I'm about to go to Florida.
That is not a place I would ever want to live.
Florida?
Yeah.
Florida's beautiful, I think.
I think yeah. If you stay away from Miami, I've only seen Miami and I was just not. A fan.
Nah, it's cool. It's
Really?
cool.
I think
Miami's
I think
cool.
we might go to Miami for
Let's go.
It's
a
just
day
too.
trip.
If you're young and you want to have fun, yeah, but not like a family like friendly type place.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous for if we go to Miami. Or if we go out, I'm nervous.
Because I've heard some crazy stuff too.
You can spend some money.
No. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's the
Look to
quickest way to get robbed in Florida. Show your money.
Enter.
That's where all the little the bad people. That's what all the little thieves and stuff look for. They go to Miami and then they pocket watch and then you just get got. You hit that club, you hit an alleyway. Give me your money.
Get a
Fuck.
rollie from Timo and then just let them steal that.
Not Timu.
Poli. Instead of rolly, it's just poli. It's the P. They forgot the R. Like the R part. Poli.
Oh my god.
Poli with a diamond ranch.
So reeling back to the Diddy, do you think he's gonna be locked up? Do you think the?
You know he had the key to the city?
Yes, we talked about this. So did we?
Yeah, but maybe the viewers in this video didn't.
Maybe he can give it back.
I think he did have to.
Give it back?
You
Yeah.
think they'll have to change
Because
the...
I
Okay, wait,
think
wait.
the honorary doctorate, I think they took it back. too.
Question.
I believe. Don't quote me, but I think so.
So we'll just have to factor that out because you don't actually know. You're not certain.
But I'm pretty sure I read it.
But pretty sure isn't pretty certain.
Cause like, why would you want to give all that stuff to a bad guy? What does it say
What if
about you?
he's not guilty until proven guilty? It's the courts. Hello.
Okay, but you saw the video too. Just because he may not be found guilty for racketeering, you can clearly see that he's a violent person.
He had a violent act.
Right.
Okay, but listen though. Here's the question. Do they change the lock?
Or did they
Take
get
his
back the key?
Oh
I
my
guess they
God.
changed the lock because he could have made copies.
There's no such thing as an actual place for the key, guys. Anyways, is he going to be found guilty? Yes or no?
Could've made a copy. He's at HEB just hitting like this giant like thunder door key. He's at HEB. He's like, I'd like to make a
Hey,
copy
man.
of this.
What's up, man?
It's like in a glass box. The key to the city.
You're so stupid.
They gotta change the lock. Okay, so they changed the lock. Everybody else with the key to the city needs a new key.
You guys are stupid. Anyways, is he guilty?
Diddy ruined it for everybody. Of course he's guilty. Now everybody needs new keys. He's guilty.
He's gonna be found guilty.
Hell yeah. No, they're trying to get him, and they'll get him.
I think they'll get him
100%.
I'm just waiting for the
They're
other
trying.
evidence.
Like, that was a good
I
point.
think that will be my key.
He had a good point though.
Determination.
It's a general net.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of different stuff.
For me, I'm waiting for the security footage. I'm trying
For
to see what's
what?
up. The security footage. He had cameras in his house. I'm
Do you
trying to
think they
see
will release
who
that
was
too?
in, who was out, what time, and what they did. Because if they didn't have freak offs, then just release the footage. That's it.
Oh, I guess they haven't gotten to that part yet.
Nah, but they'll get there.
Like how often?
What happened? Video
Exactly
footage.
like what happened.
If they order a,
Like, was there being money exchange, or
what is
was
it?
it just consensual, or
what is it that they
Drugs.
order to get the security footage of the house?
subpoena?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they subpoena.
I think
the
they
house.
have it in their
Well, when they
possession.
raided back in March, they got all of that. They raided his Miami house, New York. I believe he has an
Yeah.
LA house too. So they raided all of that, and you could get a warrant to get all that, to seize all that. That's under. Well, now it's federal, so it's under their possession.
So
It's-
it
it's
remains
part of
to
it,
be seen how
evidence.
they'll introduce it,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm sure the defense will try tooth and nails to fight it off,
Mm-hmm.
like get it like not to be not admissible in court or something.
Yeah.
They'll try it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure
It's gonna be
that
interesting.
would be the good part.
We will keep up with it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, it's interesting how all these celebrities now they're coming out with these crazy cases like R. Kelly. You know, nobody spoke about him and what he was doing, and all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, that was brought to light, and now he's locked up. Did you see he like made like a remix? Supposedly, I thought it was AI.
In jail.
It might be AI, but he made a song. Do you know Chris Brown's song Residual?
Possibly.
If it's not AI, he remixed it, and I heard it on YouTube.
Was it gas?
No.
Oh, all of a sudden you don't like R. Kelly? I bet when you were young,
Were
you were
you
over there.
were you a fan of him
Of
when
course
he was
she
younger?
was.
I mean, I know like
She's
the
still a
popular
fan.
songs.
She's still a
I
fan.
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't consider myself a fan. Like I wasn't like.
You still listen to
"Oh."
his music?
Not really. If it comes on, it comes on.
See, not really is different than no.
But I don't go and search for R. Kelly song.
You don't have to. It's in your playlist.
No, it's not.
So why would it just come on?
Because it has a little shuffle where it pulls whatever. Or if I select the different playlists or whatever, then it might come on. But
Different playlist.
Didn't you say you
Like-
like Chris Brown too?
I
You do
love
like
Chris Brown.
It sounds like a pattern here.
Yeah.
Weird.
We're seeing.
Every time Chris Brown comes in the car, I always, this guy like beats women, right?
To
I
whom?
know.
Every
that's the
time.
hard
Every
part.
single
You don't
time
know
I hear
about
him.
that with
No, I don't
Rihanna?
know. I
Oh,
don't know.
Okay.
But who do you say it to?
I forgave him. It's okay.
You won't do it again.
It's probably the
alright.
same person that will go
Did you
sit front
see
row.
he's locked up in London?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Did you see that?
Off of what? Like a drug charge? Was it?
No, he hit somebody with a empty bottle
Bruh.
like a couple years ago during his tour,
Mhm.
and when he entered London, they locked him up. No bail.
Shit.
But I think I saw that he did post. I think they finally negotiated. I think he paid like crazy money, like millions,
I saw the mugshot.
to get
Yeah.
out, and they
Yeah.
released him, and he's back in the States now.
This is the same person that probably sit front row at an Usher concert.
Oh my God! I wonder the Usher involvement with the freak offs.
Oh, hell yeah. He's about to be. Are you an Usher
Done.
fan too?
Yes,
but
of course she
I,
is.
I do like his music.
See?
I think the Super Bowl performance
You're about to hate him.
Pattern.
great.
I don't know why.
No, but Usher's fine. Usher, it's okay.
Have you seen his concerts? Dude, he gets
No, I
women
know.
to,
Yeah, I
like-
know he gets freaky, but
He gets
he's not an
married
abuser.
women. He gets married women to like flirt with him and like
Yeah,
Bro,
but
it's weird.
That's one thing,
Nah,
and
that's
another
just-
thing
that's
is being
weird, bro.
abusive,
Yeah,
and
man.
then another thing is being Diddy. He just fucking around. And sorry, bleep that out. He's just messing
Homewrecker.
around, and yeah, he's just homewrecking.
Mass manipulating. And then we go into
Controlling
Diddy,
the
where it's
masses.
controlling. Yeah,
But what
see?
if he's a victim too?
He must be.
Oh my gosh!
I think he
You know what?
He got some Diddy love.
I was a victim. I was a victim, so let me go make everybody else a victim. Yeah, it's a perfect idea.
Yeah.
That's you know what, you're okay.
But what
So-
if that's Cassie?
What do you mean?
With this whole narrative that she was in on it. So then she made, like you say, she was a victim, but then she made other people a victim too.
You're not a victim okay, look. You can
You're accessory.
You can only be a victim if you don't know. Once you know, once you intentionally do something, you consciously do something, you are no longer a victim.
So are you saying that Cassie's not a victim?
I'm saying that once she made the decision to help, to not stand up for the right thing and to do the right thing, you are no longer a victim because you chose. You could have been a victim,
Like if she did,
but you chose.
Like if she did something to actively like get more people to
Yeah.
be victims.
Yeah.
100%.
If she
She's not a
accepted
victim no
money
more.
to bring her to go
Bring
out
her
and have
friends.
friends and bring her friends there, you're not a victim anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't
And
know.
I think
It's
that's what
you know.
defense is using. So I wonder what that means for Cassie. Can they later on charge her too? Is that going to be a thing?
Maybe she cut a deal. With the
What if
feds.
this? What if? Okay, hear me out. This ends. Diddy goes down, but so does Cassie.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that
He brings her down. He brings everybody down. Okay, Diddy goes
can
down,
see
but
it.
he brings everybody down with him.
I would, if I was
If
in
I
his
was him?
position, I would do that.
Dude, I'm destroying all of Hollywood.
Right,
Yeah,
because why would I
see.
be the only person being blamed for everybody else's actions when they were in on it too? That's not fair.
Ooh.
You know?
Yeah, but then again, I feel like the government will control this because if this gets out of hand and if that actually does come out like that and there's a bunch of celebrities, there's no way they would let that go to mass public or mass media. That would change so many different things.
Yeah. I think this is why it's so
It would
big
change
deal.
news stations. It would change TV shows. It would change media, movies, Hollywood, the way people look up to celebrities, icons, media, public relations. It'll change everything.
I'm just curious to see what the outcome is and how that would change what you're saying.
I'm curious too. And if you're curious, let us know in the comments down below.
It's like part of me, I hope he brings everybody down. You know?
Mhm.
And bring
So
awareness.
we know
I hope
Right.
it brings you
all
down.
the debauchery that happens in Hollywood.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Corenzo Ocano.
Or Cody
I will
Pearson.
not I will not be in there. I'm innocent. Anyway.
Dude, imagine if those flight logs match. Did he?
Like
I
the
would
same.
say there's
I
some
think, dude,
consistency,
because if
but
there was
not
if there was
everything.
consistency, boom, boom. Now you're just missing the third piece.
Which is.
Jay-Z.
Did he?
Yeah, no, it's Jay-Z.
Trafficking Hollywood, right?
Mm-hmm. Epstein.
Epstein.
Mm-hmm. Also trafficking. Michael Jackson.
Who's there?
You know who would go here? Who will go here?
Why would there be a third? Why do you need a
It's-
third?
It's
always
always,
a-
it's always
it's
three.
always
so it's,
three.
it's a triangle. It's a pyramid thing, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about boss, and then
Super boss.
assistant? Or are you talking about super? Well, you went below.
It's more so like, hold on, let me think whether or not I want to get military
Philosophical.
Oprah.
military personnel in my night.
Oprah.
I'm trying to think whether I want
People made
military
some
personnel
accusations that
Nah,
Oprah's not a
with-
good
she-
person, too.
with vision,
She's not a saint.
night
I
vision,
believe it.
and a
I
red
believe
dot,
it too.
Mm-hmm.
just in the middle of the night at 12:30 a.m. pointed at my one to the head and three to the chest, two to the chest,
One to the head.
and two to the chest. See, it's always threes. I was trying to see, like, because I was going to say something, but I was like, I don't know whether or not I want to be, like, hunted down tonight if I say something that is outlandish.
Well,
You know,
we'll
like the
just
higher
leave it.
ups And then there's like Diddy and Jay-Z and blah, 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 and the presidents. But then there's the higher-ups.
Jeff Bezos.
Puppeteers, puppet masters.
It has to be the rich, like the rich.
They're not even known.
Right. Names of people we wouldn't
You
know.
think billionaires are like make money? You think millionaires and people like Donald Trump and them make money? Imagine the people that sell the military equipment to the military.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine how much money gets funded to the U.S. military every year. And then, like, that type of money is crazy.
Yeah.
It's the higher-ups. Anyways, we'll keep up with the case.
Yes.
This is your host, Karenza, your co-host, Cody. If you guys have any questions, or if you have a family member, friend, or yourself may be facing a criminal law issue, you can reach out to the law office of Brian Fagan at 281-810-9760.
Yep.
Schedule a free consultation.
You. Yep. Thank you guys.
See you guys next time.
Thank you for watching another episode of Legal Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode, you can always give our office a call to schedule your free 30-minute consultation with one of our team members. Check the description below and give us a call today.